Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, hey. Is this episode 24 or is it 25?
No, this is 25. This is an unupdated version of our...
Oh, it's a typo.
Yeah, just a bit of a typo.
That guy's fired.
Taking some time off. We're coming at you live from Death Valley today.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have to go to YouTube and actually check out the video version of the podcast to see what we got going on, because we're in a whole new
setting. We're on the road.
New studio today.
Yeah, and so we have cameras all over.
Mm-hmm.
And
we're actually getting like a panoramic. Like we have like a camera that's going around us in a circle.
Yeah, like at the Liberty Science Museum.
Also, we're live on Clubhouse right now. So we got some people in the room. We got everybody muted right now because we're just doing a little intro. But they're mic'd up. They're ready to rock. We're going to be asking them some questions. Maybe they can weigh in on some of the questions we got from listeners this week. So
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, this new Clubhouse thing. So if you guys aren't on it, see if you can get an invite. It's invite only right now and iOS only, so only Apple iPhones. I heard next month, I guess, or maybe this month. Next month being March, that they'll be opening it up to Android. So
all right.
So we look forward to maybe seeing you guys in the live section of the podcast too.
Everybody in the pool.
Yeah. So we're gonna turn on the mic to
let's see what happens.
Yeah.
This is
before we
like most things, we just do it without really proving or not if it'll work.
This is uncharted territory. Matt, you're live on the American Craftsman Podcast. Say hi.
Hey, boys. How we doing?
All right.
Doing good. How about yourself?
It's a beautiful day in Connecticut. Can't complain. I'm getting a couple of doors put together today.
Yeah, it's gorgeous here. It's 54 degrees right now. I can't believe it.
No fire in the shop today needed. It's 60.5. Not too bad.
Nice.
Wow,
yeah.
wow.
I should say it's 54 in Port Monmouth. We're not in Port Monmouth right now. We're somewhere else out west, but
it's like 107.
Yeah, nice and dry.
Wait, when you guys said look on YouTube, I hopped on your YouTube thing. Are you going to post it later?
Yeah, that'll be up usually tonight, like around 8 o'clock. It'll be up by.
And where are you guys?
Well, you're gonna have to check out the video and find out.
Oh, all right. I see how this is. You're driving a little action over to the YouTube. I can on board that.
It's a surprise. It'll be worth checking out.
Well, you got a subscriber just from doing that. I'm so enticed. I gotta be subscribed so I find out what's happening.
We're changing the podcast game here at Greene Street.
No, it's an awesome format. You guys are hitting the nail right on the head. I'm in full support, and I'm super happy to be here. Like you said, I'm around if you want to have me weigh in on anything.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, we'll so say hi to everybody. We got Matt, Nathan, Keith, and Jenny. My phone is under the mic over here. A little hard to see. What's up, everybody? So I'm gonna put you guys on. Well, I'm not gonna put you on mute, but anyway, we're gonna move ahead with the podcast. We're gonna get into the beer of the week. And when we get into the questions, we'll see if you guys have anything to add. So what do you got this week, Rob?
Well, this week I got something from Double Mountain that's out in, I believe, Oregon, off the Hood River. This is something called Devil's Creek.
Creek with a K, K-R-I-E-K.
And it's from 2013.
You know what creek means, right?
You mean what thing with water in it?
No. It's cherry. I don't know if it's in Flemish or...
Yeah, that's
what,
it.
but.
Because it's a red Belgian-style sour ale with Bing cherries. It's tart and funky, and it's fermented with Brettanomyces yeast.
Brettanomyces. It's like a... I guess it started out as a wild yeast, but
and this is, at the very least, it's aged more than a year. So this has been sitting around for 8 years.
Yeah. I have a beer that I brewed on January 1st of 2012, and I still have one big, like a 22-ounce bottle of it left.
Just so you know, it's 9.3% alcohol.
It's pouring a chocolatey brown. Well,
It's definitely got some red tint. Almost looks like that water from the oak.
Oh, God.
It's definitely cold.
Yeah, well, cheers. Here's to you guys out there.
Yeah, if you're listening at home, have a sip. Whatever you got.
Ah, that is nice and cold. And actually, I want to say, just got the email that our American Craftsman Podcast glasses should be here tomorrow. So we'll have those up on the website so you guys can drink along.
Along at home.
Yeah.
That's right. Want to urge everybody to drink along at home.
That's right. These are trying times. We got to do whatever we can to get by.
Yeah. So that's good. We'll comment on that later on.
Yeah. Well, you know where it brings us next. As
Tool
it does
of the week?
every week. The tool of the week.
The tool of the week, if you're viewing at home, is this buffing pad, a Sure Buff. It's a little over 6 inch in diameter with kind of this felt back, a nice about 3/4 inch thick piece of soft foam in between that and what I'll call the scouring layer, but it's really just short nylon hairs.
Yep.
And the reason I chose this for this week is because we had to, buff out the secretary that we've been talking about for all these weeks. And instead of doing it by hand with one of those ultra fine Scotch Brights, they put this on the Rotex and saved me about a day and saved my hand a lot of aches and pains.
Yeah, and I'm sure it lends a more consistent finish.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say about this, it doesn't work as well on like a random orbit, with the regular. What do we have? Those 125s to 5 inches.
You need a direct, what do they call it? Direct drive.
Yeah,
something that spins and doesn't stop.
Exactly. But it was great. It got into corners. It's flexible. Gets into small areas. So I knew I had one laying around the shop, but we looked all over. We couldn't find it. We were about to order more when it popped up.
Calling Klingsport Woodworking and looking on Amazon, calling the local stores for different stuff. Turns out it was in the drawer.
Yeah. So it's great for, I don't like it for polishing up like a wax. This was just the oil, that Rubio Monocoat. Because it gets too clogged up. You try and take the wax off. You really need to clean it. But it's something you could throw in the washing machine if you had to. That's what they say. And you should check them out. It's something that save you some time in the shop, and I think it's an essential tool. I'll say it's something to add to the sandpaper drawer.
Yeah. Hey, anything to save buffing by hand.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, one of the jobs you do that nobody notices if you do it well, but they just notice it if you do it bad.
Well. Yeah. Hey, Matt, just a heads up. I'm going to move you to the audience just to keep things orderly. We'll bring people up one at a time as we get into questions and stuff. So if anybody, we'll get into the questions here in a couple minutes. If anybody there on Clubhouse has a comment or a question, etc., raise your hand. I'll bring people up. I guess we might have multiple people that want to comment on the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, we'll bring people up between and we'll figure it out. We're figuring it all out.
Yeah.
You got a gripe this week? I think we took a week off last week.
Yeah.
No?
I think
John.
that was John Peters had a gripe. Why, you got something on your mind?
Not really.
Well, one of my favorite go-to dinners when, my wife's not really a homemaker. She doesn't listen, so I could say that. No,
Yet.
Yeah.
Wait till the checks start coming in.
That's right. No, my wife was a school teacher. She was a high school math teacher, since retired. So She was a working woman her whole life. But she gets these whenever I have something to do and I have to get out of the house fast, like if I have an appointment and we stop work and I got to get out of here, she'll make, I call them chicken fingers. But basically, they're these organic breasts sliced up, and they're breaded. They're gluten-free, and they're really good. I can't remember who makes them, but, it's like one of those things you get at Whole Foods, that kind of store. And the reason I'm talking about those is that the gripe is that there used to be 6 in the box, and now there's only 5.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm sure they sell it by weight, but what happens is they don't change the price. And what used to be, let's say, 16 ounces, and now you look on the box and it's 14 and a half ounces. So they give you 5 that are a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But it's still less for the same price. Yeah, I mean, the candy bar thing, they were doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
They'd make the candy bar small.
Yeah, like a Snickers bar now is like, I don't really eat candy.
No.
And like every year around Halloween, I'll fall off the wagon and eat a bunch of candy. But like a Snickers bar, I feel like used to be like 6 inches long.
Yeah.
Now they're like
4.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, see, that's my petty gripe. That they try and slip one past you, like the potato chips. Same thing with that. Oh, wow. Looks like we got the logo up there. That's looking sharp.
We're not in the desert anymore.
So that's truly a petty gripe, but that is the title. And I'm sure I've struck a nerve with somebody out there that, it's not like you can eat a whole bag of potato chips now and you couldn't in the past.
Right.
It's just that there's less chips in that bag.
Yeah, and they're the same price or maybe more.
Yeah. More air, less food.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. So there's my petty gripe of the week.
Well, I feel you on that. Let me see. I'm just messing around here with the studio.
Yeah, I'm getting a little
That one doesn't look quite as good.
seasickness. Motion sickness.
Yeah, just wait till next week. We might be on the moon.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. SpaceX?
Yeah. Virgin Galactic, actually.
Yeah.
We're shareholders.
So are we ready to move on to questions of the week?
Yeah, let's do it. Sorry, I'm distracting myself over here.
So we got a question from Nathan at Tree of Life Woodworking on Instagram. And Nathan asks us, how can I make a 22.5 degree cut with the table saw? I need to make Kumiko jigs and got stuck on that. And we thought, wow, how do you do that? And I guess the only other way is to make a jig. Is that what we came up with?
Yeah, so actually I reached out to Nathan just to clarify. So he's talking about, like, most times when people talk about 22.5, like we're talking about 22.5 off 90.
Right. So that'd be like a 67.5.
Yeah, like
cut.
we tend to talk in like miter saw speak.
Right.
So he's actually talking about, if you were cutting it on a miter saw, a 67.5 degree cut.
Yeah, so that's steep.
Yeah. So Nathan actually said that he kind of, had figured it out, and the idea is to cut it vertically.
Yeah.
So you set the saw to 22.5, jig up your piece from the table of the saw going up, and that's how you cut it.
Right. That's what I was thinking, like something that you could either clamp or fasten to the fence would help.
Yep.
Like a nice guide or a jig, if
Some
you will.
sort of like a tenon jig type setup.
Yeah. We have that heavy cast iron Delta jig for like making bridle joints and stuff. It's perfect.
Yeah.
But it holds the stock, perfectly, and it also has a little caliper gauge on the side, so you can
tilt it.
Tilt it, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you could even cut crazy. I mean, you cut some crazy angles with that.
Yep.
Does it tilt in both directions?
No, because it's got like a 90 stop.
Yeah.
That one side, that big slab of iron.
So it tips in the same direction as the blade or the other?
I don't remember. It's sitting up there on the shelf for so long.
We'll have to explore.
It's one of those things that you don't use for a couple of years, and then you need it, and you go, "Oh, I got that thing."
Yeah,
bust it out.
Yeah, it hasn't. We haven't used it in I don't know, 2 years, at least the 2 years that I've been here.
Yeah, no. Doesn't get used very often.
Yeah.
More often than not, for something, we'll just run it against the fence by hand.
Yeah, that's what I did with the raised panels for these Gothic doors. I just, the hell did I do? Did I clamp a board to the thing? And then, I think that's what I did. I clamped a board to the fence, and then I clamped another board to the piece, and then just used that as like a reference.
Yep. And it came out pretty well. I mean, you had to sand the hell out of it, but get those.
No, the bottoms came out, no problem.
Oh, you're talking about the bottom.
Yeah.
And then you just use the...
I just use a spoke shave to do the rest.
All right. So Nathan didn't really need our help on that.
Yeah. Good luck with the Kumiko.
Yeah, we'd like to see some pictures.
Yeah, I'm jealous because I'd like to try it myself someday.
All right. Why don't you take the second one? I like this question.
Yeah, we got one from our buddy Tom McGuire. He's one of our patrons on Patreon. Tom wants to know, he's got a little question about some work he's doing in his house. So, my wife thinks in a 4-day weekend I can demo our bathroom's plaster walls, tile floor, and install a new vanity, wainscoting, plumbing, electrical, etc. If I were to build a custom vanity due to the bathroom humidity, what types of wooden sealer would you recommend if we go for a natural color instead of painting it? Also, do you know anywhere I could hide a body?
My pat answer to that is under the corn.
Yeah, I was going to say under the new tub.
Do you know that movie reference?
You told me about it one time, but I don't remember.
It's that movie with Johnny Depp, and he's like a writer, and who's the guy that plays his alter ego? But it's one of those stock twists where you don't know he's the alter ego.
Oh yeah.
It's played by what the hell's his name?
It's like
two brothers,
multiple personality kind of situation.
Yeah. Anyway, he buries the wife under the corn. So that's what I always tell my wife. Was
the corn already planted?
I think so. It's up in a cabin and there's like cornfield. It's not his corn. It's like...
I'm not buying that because if you dig up the corn, you're going to be able to tell.
Under the corn. That's. I'm going to go with that.
Unless they buried her when the corn wasn't out of the ground yet.
Yeah. I'm a city boy, so... I could easily believe that.
I grew up literally surrounded by corn. I grew up in the suburbs, but... So,
you mean corn doesn't come in a can?
No. It comes in a bag in the freezer. You know that.
Yeah, that's right.
Back to the question, Tom. Really, I mean, it depends. The combination of wood and sealer... If you use a wood that's more susceptible to humidity, you're going to want to use a stronger type finish. And if you use one that's, better with humidity, like white oak or teak or sapele or something like that, then, you don't have to go as crazy. But I don't think it's going to be as much of a problem as you may think.
Right. It's not like you're making the interior of a sauna or anything like that.
Yeah.
You're going to... And by code, if you're worried about that stuff, you have to have either a window
or a bath fan.
Or a fan. So,
a fart fan, as we used to call them.
Yeah. And you'll have to use Jeff's favorite glue.
Type Bond 3.
Yeah, the waterproof variety.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Type Bond 1 guy.
Ugh. Hate it.
Like to bring that up.
I can't stand Type Bond 1.
Just to see Jeff's reaction. That's like saying you prefer a rotary phone.
Yeah, it's like going, yeah. God, I'd like to drive, but I prefer a bicycle.
Yeah. I don't know. Just like that Type Bond 1.
Yeah, it's too thick.
Well, you got your work cut out for you. 4 days. I mean...
Your wife must be hanging out with my wife because she's got the same perception of how long it takes to do things.
Cleaning up's going to take 2 days.
Yeah.
If you're demoing plaster, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say if it's a small bath, you can probably get most of the demo done in a day. But then, you're talking, it's going to take you a week. And that's if you're really busting ass.
Yeah. You know what we did?
That's a 7-day week, not a 5-day.
We moved the last time we needed a new bathroom.
Yeah.
I think that's the ticket.
I don't blame you. In terms of the body, we can't comment on that. We've already have some outstanding legal, situations.
The corn. Under the corn. I would say, I watch a lot of murder mystery. And typically, if the body's somewhere on the premises, they bury it under, like, the patio, like a new patio goes in.
Crawl space. And then you pour a new slab.
Yeah, a fountain. The thing is, you got to doctor the receipts because the police always look at the dates of those things. And they notice, whether you've made any large improvements to the home around the time of the disappearance.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You can't get away with anything these days. There's cameras everywhere. And
yeah, I feel for you, Tom. I do. I do.
You're better off if you disappeared somewhere.
Now you got something.
Yeah. Cayman Islands, Costa Rica, something like that. Just try not to withdraw large sums of cash, too quickly. Just, times are crazy right now. Hop on a boat or something. You can get away.
Now you're getting into my fantasy zone.
I like this next question.
All right.
From Low Country Modern on Instagram.
Yeah.
Formerly known as Loco Modern. Guys, we have a debate going on over here and need y'all's help. Reuben, Cuban, or BLT sandwich? Cheers.
I like the rhythm of that question.
Yeah.
Well, first off, the Reuben has something on it that I just can't agree with, and that's the Thousand Island dressing. So
Okay.
that's out for me. What about you?
I love a good Reuben, but I like coleslaw instead of the sauerkraut.
Oh, see, that's another thing. The Reuben's just not a sandwich for me, I'm afraid, then. And then the BLT, even... Well, I don't eat pork really, so or beef.
They're all out.
Yeah, they're all out. But in my past, I've enjoyed all of these sandwiches except for the Reuben. I haven't enjoyed it. I've eaten it, but I haven't enjoyed it.
You're missing out.
The BLT, I don't like lettuce. I don't want lettuce on my sandwiches. That's across the board. Keep the lettuce off my sandwich.
That sounds like a petty gripe.
It is. No lettuce on the sandwich. I don't like it.
Even like an Italian sub?
Oh, especially on an Italian sub.
See, what I don't like is when they put shredded lettuce on a BLT.
Yeah. Oh,
that's just wrong.
That's criminal.
It should be leaf iceberg lettuce on a BLT.
Iceberg. Ugh.
See, for me, the deal breaker on the BLT is usually the tomato. Because usually it's not a good tomato.
Well, yeah. You can't get a good tomato anymore.
I'll just take the BL.
Yeah. You know what I like?
Bacon and lettuce.
I like
avocado on there.
I like a grilled cheese, white American with lots of butter. You pan grill it with a couple of strips of bacon in there.
Yeah.
And some nice tomato.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
I like that too.
Nice sour pickle on the side.
I like white American, but on a grilled cheese, there's something better about yellow.
Yeah.
It just seems right.
Yeah. Like you don't like that white macaroni and cheese. Like you don't have the Annie's, the white.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I don't like the white cheddar mac and cheese. It's just not the same.
So what's left? Obviously.
I mean, I'm going to, I don't know. I'm between, BLTs are good, but between a Reuben and a Cuban and a BLT's got no chance.
Yeah.
It's a tough choice. I really like Reubens, but I really like Cuban sandwiches too.
Yeah. The Cuban is my choice there as well. I like the way it's all smashed down, and
crispy.
Cooked. I love that. I like pickles.
I'm going with Reuben. Because I feel like the Cuban is usually too small because they build like a regular size sandwich and then they smash it down to nothing. Yeah. So it's like this little 3/4 inch tall sandwich.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I'll go with the Cuban all day. All day for me.
I like a nice open faced Reuben. They build it like it's like 2 inches high with.
Yeah.
Where the hell did I have one? Oh, MJ's. Yeah. Recently, it was good on marble rye.
I don't like those sandwiches where the bread to meat ratio is out of whack. Yeah, you know, like though you see those deli sandwiches. I mean, I've had a few of those because I'm from New York, and that's like one of those. I guess they have them everywhere now, but in the past it was a New York sort of thing where you go to the deli and you get like a corned beef or a brisket sandwich at the Jewish deli, and they would be massively stacked, like it was a whole plate of meat. Yeah,
there's a place out. It's not super close to here, but in this kind of general area called Harold's, I think. And it's somewhere that was in the city or something. They moved out here. And like you apparently have to take half of the sandwich home because it's got so much. Yeah, like that Katz's Deli kind of sandwich. I'm not into that, but I do like a big Reuben that, it's got to be a nice piece of rye bread down there.
Yeah. Well, Cuban, man. Cuban.
I'll eat any of the three, to be honest. If you're bringing sandwiches, whatever you got, I'll eat.
If it's a BLT, it's got to be turkey bacon for me.
Yeah, I'll take turkey bacon, beef bacon, pork bacon.
There's some good turkey bacon out there.
Yeah. Not as good as regular bacon, though.
Well, yeah, I can't eat. We've adopted a pig down at Popcorn Park Zoo. I don't know. It must be 10 years now. So we pay for this.
A pot-bellied pig.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. That was like one of those things where people get them and then they abandon them.
Yeah.
So this is like a rescue zoo. And Uno is the pig's name. And God help him, he's the ugliest animal in the whole zoo.
Yeah, pot-bellied pigs are not good-looking animals.
Got like one curled tooth coming out of his mouth.
Snaggletooth.
Yeah. So we can't eat pig. Yeah, so I really can't have a Cuban, but in the past I have and enjoyed them. All right, so you want to move on? I hope we settled something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know.
I don't think we did, but...
No. Yeah. Has a client ever come to you with a decent-sized job, but with a terrible idea in mind? How do you work through this? Talk them down from a crappy idea. Also, my son Jack, who's 10 on Friday, wants to know if either of you have a dog. If so, what breed? That's from Rabrad Design on Instagram.
Well, I guess first off, we got to say, Jack, happy birthday.
Yeah. To be 10 and free.
Yeah, double digits.
Living the good life.
Yeah, man, 10.
That was a good year, 10.
It feels like a lifetime ago.
It was a lifetime ago for you.
Yeah.
It was 4 lifetimes for me. Oh, man. Yeah, of course we have dogs.
Yep.
What's Rufus?
Yeah, so my dog Rufus is, he'll be 10 this year, 9 this year. He'll be 9 this year. He's a Collie, Husky, German Shepherd, Golden Retriever mix.
Oh, yeah, he's like...
Equal parts of each.
He's a little bit like me, a little bit everything.
Yeah. So he's kind of got the fur of a Golden Retriever, the colors of a German Shepherd. He's got the husky tail and kind of the collie build. So
yeah, that's the way I see him. Collie, but he doesn't have the collie face. He doesn't have that long nose.
More Golden Retriever face.
Yeah. Well, we have 2 mutts. Well, 1 mutt really. Mm-hmm. Zuma. She's some kind of mix of like a hound. I think she's got some pointer in her based on what she does when she sees animals.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then we have Sammy, who's a Catahoula leopard hound. Mm-hmm. And that was Sammy's my 3rd Catahoula. And I was partial to that breed. I'd never heard of them till I adopted one from the pound in Long Island.
That's usually how it works. Yeah.
We used to go out to Prospect Park every Sunday because I lived in Brooklyn at the time when I adopted Sam. Primo was his name, my first Catahoula. And in Prospect Park, on Saturday and Sunday morning from 6 to 9 a.m., you can let your dogs run off the leash.
Is it fenced in?
No, it's a huge park, like Central Park kind of thing, only in Brooklyn. Yeah. So there's all kinds of people out there with their dogs running around. And the earlier you get there, the less people, of course. So my dog needed a lot of exercise, and I used to take him out there every weekend, and he'd chase the Frisbee and everything. And guy come up to me, and he says, wow, you got yourself a Catahoula there. And I said, what?
What'd you say to me?
Exactly. So, they did have the internet back at that time, just a little bit. So I looked it up, and sure enough, the Catahoula is like almost like a cur. It's
It doesn't sound any better.
Yeah, it's very close to a native dog, like almost like a not a dingo, but
wild dog.
Yeah, something like that. And they use them down in the South. Catahoula is a parish in Louisiana. That's where it got its name. And they're herding dogs. And
yeah, Sammy tries to herd my son.
Yeah, especially kids, because they're small, so they don't know what to make of them. So they try and nip at them and things like that. But they're an unusual breed. You should check them out.
They're definitely cool looking dogs.
Yeah, they're odd. So what was the rest of this question?
Has a client ever come to you with a job but a terrible idea? All the time, pretty much every time.
Yeah, anytime that they don't give us carte blanche, they're usually inspired by something that just doesn't work. Not to say that we know everything and they know nothing. It's just...
but that's what we're saying.
Yeah. Well, we come at it from a different point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, we really we've gone to school with all of this stuff. And what they've done is seen something on Pinterest.
Right.
And they'll try and squeeze 10 pounds of stuff into a 5-pound bag most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to gently show them why it won't work. Sometimes it's just physically impossible.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just ugly. And I would say that for the most part, once you show them, they go, oh, you're right, actually. I didn't know that. I was thinking that we could just take this picture and transpose it into my house and it would work.
Mm-hmm.
So...
yeah, we actually, you see two questions down.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to totally sort of hit on how we go about, basically talking them out of the bad idea.
Yeah. And we don't really approach it that way. Like, we're going to talk you out of this. We're just going to show you something else.
Yeah, it's more we're going to talk you into the right idea.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to turn into a you're wrong, we're right. It's just, no, this is what...
What do you think of this?
Yeah, this is what we need to do.
You see how you can open the door here instead of bumping into the wall with the way you wanted to do it?
Yeah, like put seen the kitchens with 2 base cabinets and no filler in a corner and the handles run into each other.
But I want it that way. I saw a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We're the pro and they're the layman, so their idea is bound to not be the best.
Right. It's just that's nature.
I don't go to the doctor and start giving ideas of how the surgery is going to go. Well, I think, first maybe we cut open over here and then we'll move... put in the forceps and hold over this thing.
Are you sure about that, Doc?
Yeah, you didn't go to school for this, did you?
No. Yeah, so we like to, first off, we draw everything up. And, I think by showing better examples, most people will naturally go in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
I want to ask before we move on to the next question. If you guys on Clubhouse are having a hard time hearing us, let me know, because the phone is it's under a microphone. It's not the closest to Rob for sure.
Yeah,
it's pretty close to me, but I'm not sure how sensitive it is. So if you can't hear, just let us know. Okay. Matt says audio is perfect. Thanks, man. Next question from Kip Gillette on Instagram. What kind of insulation is in your shop?
Yeah, bat. Just the inexpensive fiberglass, the non-itchy kind of fiberglass, I guess what is that?
What do you have? That cellulose stuff, the white?
No, it was like the Pink Panther.
Oh, yeah. No, it's all itchy.
It's itchy?
There's no such thing as not itchy. Not itchy. What the hell?
Well, they're 4x6 walls. So there's a 6-inch cavity.
Right.
And
so you got R20 or something probably.
Yeah, it's 20 or 22. And it's the same thing in the ceiling, just suspended on, little cleats up there, 1x3 cleats. But it's plenty.
Oh yeah, I mean, it stays very comfortable in here with minimal heat and minimal air conditioning.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of windows. There's, 20% of the wall is window and door.
Yeah.
The only place we really have a leak is where we have a hole cut in the wall, so that the miter saw. So we can cut stuff on the miter saw.
Did we ever talk about that?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, we have our miter saw set up on one of the shortest walls in the shop because that's just kind of the best place for it as far as all the other tools and machinery, but one of the worst places for the miter saw. And
there's only 48 inches really to the blade, from the center of the blade to the wall,
right
on the right-hand side.
It's on the wall where our main entrance is, which is a double door. So it's a 6-foot door, and it's on the narrow side of the building, which is 24 feet on the outside. So if you're cutting in one direction, it's fine because it shoots off towards, the bigger part of the building.
Even there, we only have about 9 feet, I think, because of the cubbies.
That's right. Yeah, we complicated things even further. And then the other side, what we did was we just cut a hole in the wall.
Yeah, so there's a little trap door that you flip open, and you can stick the piece
we just
into the dust collector
room.
Run
a board out of the shop into the dust collection room.
Yeah, which is... it's just like, it's basically it's an outside closet. It's
it's not insulated.
No, and the door, it's not like a perfectly sealed door or anything. So it's the same temperature in there as it is outside. And there's even a limitation to the length there. I think we get about 60. It hits
60, the dust collector, I think.
Yeah, we get about 60 inches or so, 62, something like that. But it's not really a problem.
But insulation.
You just flip the board around sometimes.
It makes a big, big difference, I think.
Actually, now I'm thinking about it, you do have white insulation because I saw it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's that Johns Manville cellulose.
Yeah.
That has plastic on two sides.
Yeah.
That stuff is definitely less itchy just because it's not as exposed.
Right.
It's encapsulated in that plastic.
I think I did that because it's board and batten on the outside. There's no like.
Oh, so it was like your vapor barrier.
Yeah. So I guess that's it on that question. That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Oh, so here's our next question that's gonna probably better answer your question over at. Sorry, I don't know your first name. Rad Design. Maybe it's Rab.
Or Brad.
Yeah. Or Rad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It could be R.A. Brad Design.
We've killed other people's names before. Ira Jan,
not El Rajan or Rajan. Ira Jan.
And Shoemaker.
Yeah,
we've been killing Shoemaker's name.
David
too.
Shoemaker.
All right,
not Schumacher. Although it's always good to have an alias. What, do you have an alias?
Oh, I have plenty.
Can you give any of the names out?
I told you, my first passport actually says known as on it. That's a. I mean, I've had more identities than James Bond. Stephen
Weintraut, that's my alias.
No, you see, mine have real paper trails. That's why I won't mention it on air.
You're gonna have to become a patron if you want that information.
That's right.
Here's our next question. How important is it to educate your customers with what it takes to do what you do? Reason for asking: most people's view of what it takes to produce a really good piece is non-existent. If they only knew the process, care, attention, and effort, not to mention expertise, their appreciation and maybe even acceptance of a given price would change. I think educating customers is sometimes key. That being said, not everyone can appreciate or will appreciate true craftsmanship. Sometimes I think about how much people charge for a good steak, but we never question why. We're willing to pay for it. But somehow for us, it doesn't quite work that way. For example, I always think of pointing out to customers cathedrals up on end panels, grain matching throughout cabinetry, and the difference in quality and difference in product, even if they look similar. Where are they sourced? Opening up their eyes to things that may be obvious to you and I, but I don't always read the question before, so I'm trying to read off the cuff. Opening up their eyes to things that may be obvious to you and I, but educate them to look at these things as they now compare your work to others. That's from our buddy Lou.
Yeah, old friend Lou. Mm-hmm. That's a great question.
Sorry I butchered the end of your question, Lou.
I think everybody understands the gist of it.
Yeah.
You know, why in most instances is our craft underappreciated.
Yeah. What am I trying to say here? Not really like examined closely.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, comparing it to a steak, I would say you really have this immediate impact if you eat a bad steak as opposed to a good steak. It's tough, it's chewy, it doesn't have flavor.
A little sour.
Yeah, possibly. And the shame of it all is there you can sort of masquerade a piece of junk as something better in the short term.
Yeah, you know, like you see commercials for places like Applebee's or something like that, and they have, this steak's got blue cheese and crispy onions on top.
Yeah,
and
that's the warning sign.
so they're polishing up a turd, as we say,
layering up stuff on top is
which we see, in our business as well. You know, the particle board cabinet with I won't say a nice door, but a fancy door with a fancy paint job over top of it.
Right. That's what's going on. They're sort of dressing up, a box and spending their effort on that superficial part of the work. And I think another thing that Lou points out is sometimes people just don't appreciate craftsmanship, and they don't really care if what we do is better, for lack of a different word.
Oh yeah, and you can't really blame people because we all put value on different things in our lives, and if just because you don't like furniture or cabinetry doesn't mean that that we all should. I'm not saying that everybody should hold it as near and dear as we do, but it is discouraging when you run into these people who, you put a drawing out to them and a price, and when they don't see the value in it, you can't help but take it a little personally.
Right, because we've dedicated our adult lives to this. I'm a firm believer that a lot of the stuff that we do can't be shown off in the same way that other expensive products can be. Like the thing that always comes to my mind is like a designer handbag, where women would gladly spend a couple of $1,000s on a handbag that, for any reasonable person, you could say, where does that cost go? Why is that handbag $3,000? Is there $3,000 worth of material and labor in there with a reasonable fee? It's the designer's name.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little both, I think.
Yeah, but see, somebody could take that out and about, just like a car.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And it's a status symbol.
Yeah.
It's, look at me, I can afford this, I spent money on this, and isn't this nice? Don't you wish you had one?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's levels to it. Like, and I'm not going to try and name names and make assumptions as to what they do, but you know, there's like the designer handbag, like that's a Greene Street, and then there's the one that's like the one that's expensive, but it's really a piece of shit.
Yeah, well, yeah, and a lot of knockoffs in that business too.
It's like buying like a what is it I've been seeing recently, like the BMWs, and it's a video of people like pushing on like the dashboard and stuff, and it's like making these creaky, plasticky sounds. So that's an expensive car that's really a piece of shit. But then you buy a Bentley, and the interior was all hand stitched by a person, you know. So
yeah, they've been working there for 30 years.
Right.
They have personal investment. The woman who's been stitching those steering wheels by hand, you know. That's the kind of stuff that shows. And maybe you have to be, I want to say you don't have to be a tradesman or work with your hands to appreciate it, because we have plenty of customers who do appreciate it, and they tell us so, and they're not attached to the trades in any way, shape, or form.
No, I'd say 99.9% of our clients are, you know, in some sort of a, what we would call, I guess, a white collar job.
White collar, yeah. He's, you know, Lou's touching on a lot of stuff. These are real, you know, hot button topics for people who do what we do.
I'd say, you know, to boil it down to brass tacks, to answer the overarching question, how important is it to educate your customers? It's, I mean, if you want to turn non-customers into customers, you don't really have a choice but to try and educate them. It's either the person is on board from the get-go, or they're not, and you have to make them understand why it costs $15,000 to build a cabinet to hold the coffee maker.
Right. I mean, the kitchen's a good example. You see lots of ads for places that sell kitchens, will install a kitchen, you know, for a few $1,000s here and there. But even like the Home Depot type of kitchen, where you're getting, you could go into a box store like Home Depot and pick out a whole suite of cabinets, and they're going to look pretty nice from the outside to a regular person who's just kind of looking at the door style and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I, we'd pick it apart,
right.
but that's not most people. They're going to look at it and go, wow, this is a really beautiful cabinet. And so let's say they spent $6,000 on cabinets. They pay a couple of guys a few $1,000s to put them in, and they're in and out for $8,000.
Yep.
Then we give them a price for $28,000, let's say. They go, what the hell? These guys are trying to steal from us. This is the same kitchen for $20,000 more. We have to show why, you know, we're $28,000 more. We might be making less profit on that kitchen.
Oh, we're absolutely making less profit
than the combination of the two guys with, you know, the installer.
Yeah, those cabinets were made offshore.
Yeah, and we do. We come in with full soup to nuts breakdown, written spreadsheets, drawings. We do our best to explain what, you know, all of the extra costs that where we're not cutting the corners. And I would say that 50% of the time somebody will go for that. You know, it's a lot of times it's whether they have the money or not whether they're willing to do it, but whether they have it. What do you think, Jeff?
It's hard to say. I think the clients are coming in more and more like pre-primed and knowing what to expect. Mostly I'd say due to the vetting process that we're kind of going through, where, you know, like the new client questionnaire is the gatekeeper. If you can't get past the gatekeeper, then we're not even getting to the point of giving you a price where you say,
right,
holy fuck, why is it 100% more than it was going to be with Home Depot or whatever. So it's, you know, we're coming into it less and less, and So we're having to do less of the educating, I'd say.
Yeah.
But it's always going to be good to know how to explain the process and the reasoning behind the price to the client.
Sure. If somebody's making an investment in something as important and integral to their lives as a kitchen, it's a big decision, and people will only want to do it once.
Yeah.
I mean, those are good opportunities for us to show what we do. One of those presentations, because there's so many small details where we can illustrate why we're different and where that extra cost is going.
Mm-hmm. And you can't always expect it to hit home.
No.
It falls on deaf ears a lot of times too. So.
Well, yeah, there's people that they just don't want to hear it. It's a numbers game.
Yeah. Like, going back to the steak analogy, we have a Wagyu steak, and some people are never going to be able to stomach the price, no matter how appealing you make it sound or how you explain how they massage the cow with sake every morning and blah blah blah. Some people just don't care, and that's their prerogative.
And some people won't be able to taste the difference.
Yeah,
some people would rather go to Mickey D's.
Yeah,
it's all out there. It's a lot of different types of folks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a great question, and we're glad to have Lou on board here.
Yeah. You want to take this next one?
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up the email.
All right. You want me to read it out?
Yeah.
Jack Thornton 98 on Instagram. He's our intern listener, right? He's got an internship going.
Yeah, an apprenticeship. I got an email from Jack. I'm going to read it here once we're done with this question.
He's asking, scraped versus sanded finish. What are the pros and cons?
Well, we don't really finish anything by scraping. We scrape to deal with tear out, stuff like that.
Yeah, clean up.
Yeah, to clean mill marks off of edges, but just not really conducive to our workflow. I certainly know it's a very good technique, and you can get some beautiful finishes with it, but just not something we really do.
No, we don't. What would you say are pros to a scrape finish? Any?
You don't have to sand. That's a pro.
Bing. You got me right there. I'm sold right off the bat.
Yeah. I'd say a con, you got to keep the scraper with a hook on it.
Yeah.
You get 4 hooks on a scraper, then you're going to be stopping to put new hooks on.
Yeah.
Or you may even have to put them on a stone to get the edge reset, especially if you're, of course, my wife texted me here during the podcast, even though she knows we're doing the podcast. What was I saying?
Hooks, scrapers.
Yeah. You might have to touch them on the stone to get them back to be on a cut, especially for a finished surface. Sandpaper, you just throw it away and put a new one on.
Yeah. One big pro for me for most of the time, even though, like Jeff said, we don't do a scrape finish, is the quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, spending all day sanding with the machine humming, even though we have some of the quietest vacuums sold, some of the nicest sanders sold, it's not that enjoyable. You really have to get in the zone when you're doing a lot of sanding. You have to just say, this is it. This is my day here.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's such an important job to laying down a good finish that you can't skip steps. You can't skip grits. You can't half-ass it in any way. You got to get all the marks out.
Yep.
So you just gotta find peace with it. So I don't know, Jack, you tell us what are your experiences now that you've, got some time in the wood shop? I'd even like to see some of the things you're working on.
Yeah, he sent a couple pictures on
Yeah.
here. So I got an email from Jack here on, let's see, 22nd. What was that? Saturday, maybe? Friday? What's today? 24th? Oh, no.
It was
Monday.
yesterday. Monday. What's today? Wednesday?
24th. So, excuse me. Dear Jeff and Rob, first and foremost, I would like to thank you two for putting time aside each week to deliver an informative and entertaining podcast. It's always a highlight for me to see the podcast come through every Thursday, Australia time, because I know I will learn something new. I think it's about time I give the two of you a more detailed insight to my apprenticeship.
Nice.
My apprenticeship began a day before my 23rd birthday on the 11th of January, a mere 400 meters from my home in Botany. That's how it's spelled. I'm probably saying that wrong. The company is called Jonathan West, named after the boss, and we specialize in high-end custom furniture, joinery, and cabinets.
Wow.
All our work is one of a kind, as the boss actively seeks out interesting and unique work which provides a wide variety of work and opportunities to learn. We have a large open-floor workshop equipped with digital fences and height adjustments on all machines, a far cry from the old-school cast-iron machinery I am used to from boat building, including a panel saw, European slider, thicknesser joiner combo, dual belt sander, spindle molder, and bandsaw. We also have a CNC machine capable of 5x10 work, which we cut all of our carcasses for cabinets on. I will be completing the theory part of the apprenticeship online to achieve a Certificate 3 in cabinet making. I am very lucky as I will be exposed to a wide variety of work within the furniture and cabinet making industry, from install to build to finishing to custom furniture making. Your podcast is very handy to myself, as the plan is, once I finish the apprenticeship, to head to America and learn, work, and travel over there. So being able to dissect knowledge from the front line of high-quality work in America is invaluable to me. Keep on fighting the good fight and spreading knowledge throughout the woodworking world. A rising tide rises all ships. Cheers,
That's right.
Jack Thornton. Sydney, Australia. Delmar Woodworking. That's his side hustle business name.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was really inspiring to hear.
And then here he sent some pictures.
Oh, nice.
Bedside table for myself out of Jara. Waterfall table, grain wrapped. There's a miter down here.
Yeah, I could see that. It's a wood we don't really get our hands on over here.
Yeah, black butt louvered doors for a walk-in wardrobe, and a brass wrapped hallway table the boss built a few years ago, getting some touch-ups and a polish. Those louvered doors are cool.
Yeah.
A lot of work doing all those little mortises.
Yeah. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Is that a festival Sanders?
Yeah. Yep. Hey, thanks, Jack. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear how things go. And of course, if he ever makes his way onto the East Coast here.
That's what I said. I said when you're stateside, you got to stop by.
I know those Australians from my time backpacking through Europe myself. They traveled extensively.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
And they're party animals.
yes, they would be on 2-3 year trips, and I guess it has to do with how far away they are.
Yeah.
From a lot of stuff here in the West. So once you're out, you want to make the most of it. That was really nice to hear about Jack. We've been after him to send us some stuff, and he did. That's cool. So you want to move on?
Yeah.
All right, I'll read this. Most of my machines are old, 1930 to 1980, and British made. I like them because they're basic, reliable, very well made, and cheap to purchase compared to equivalent new machines. I see you tend to prefer buying newer machines. Any particular reason? Really enjoy listening to you boys. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much. That's Matt Richardson Arch Woodwork on Instagram. And Matt's in Derbyshire, England. Do you say it Derbyshire or do they say Derbyshire?
Derbyshire.
We have no idea.
I'd say Derbyshire sounds about right.
Yeah, school us a little bit on that, Matt. We just don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, my sister's husband is from Malden, which I always thought was Maldon. and I thought it was in France. Famous for their salt.
You see, Matt, we don't know what we're talking about.
Famous for their salt. I don't know why I assumed, because Brittany, I guess, is famous for their salt.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was kind of in that area.
Our shop's in Port Monmouth, and
Monmouth.
yeah, if you even hear when we're talking to somebody in another state, they always say Monmouth, and we say no, Monmouth.
Yeah, like the Battle of Monmouth.
Yeah,
Revolutionary War times. When we beat you, English. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'd say this comes down to just time.
yeah,
With a new machine, the planer, for instance, right over here, the new Oliver planer, 20-inch. It was dropped off at 11. We had to get that and another machine into the shop. By 1:15, I was planing pieces of wood through there.
yeah,
And that's literally uncrating it, setting it up, putting it together and using it.
yeah,
So the cost up front is more. It's a $3,000 planer. Let's say we could get an equivalent 1930s planer for $1,000 or $500.
right.
The time it's going to take us, because it's probably not going to be in perfect working order.
No,
The time it's going to take us to get it set up, to learn the machine without a instruction manual or the internet or video, it's going to be more. There's not going to be parts readily available.
right.
It's not going to have the creature comforts like a digital readout.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of why I would go with a new machine versus an old. I definitely don't have anything against old machines. I think a lot of the old machines are way better than the new machines.
They are.
But when you're working in a shop trying to make a living, sometimes you just got to pony up the cash up front. And
Yeah. I agree with everything you said. I would say that there's the availability first. We have to hunt down the right machine, the right old machine.
yeah, we're not in an area where they're plentiful.
Right. So we probably have to go to an auction and bid on it. And
Freight it here.
yeah, so that raises the cost. Then in an auction, you got to pay 15% above what you've, purchased the machine for.
Yeah,
And then
broker fee or whatever.
we have to become schooled in that particular machine. Now we have to be able to repair it.
Mm-hmm.
We have one used machine here that we wound up taking apart, putting back together 3 or 4 times, and now we know the machine.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't worth the time because every time we had to do something, the machine was down.
Now it'll cost us too much to get rid of it and try and,
Yeah.
figure that out than it is to just keep it and deal with it, because
And we take good care of our machines, and we're able to sell our used machine for a really good price.
Yeah.
Bring in a new machine for sort of a nominal upcharge, really.
yeah.
And that way, it's sort of almost like, driving a new car every 5 years. And once it gets to the point where we're going to start needing to upkeep and service, that's downtime in the shop that we just can't really afford to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all these machines are vital. We use them. I mean, I'd say the bandsaw and the drill press get used the least.
Right.
But like joiner, planer, table saw, sander, those things get used every single day. We were without this planer between the time that we sold to this guy, Matt, right?
Yeah, Matt.
He's up in North Jersey, nice guy. Between the time we sold that to him last Tuesday and receiving this on, what was it, Monday?
Yeah.
I mean, we had wood piling up to be planed. Everything comes in here.
Every job in the shop had parts waiting to go through. Yeah, because we don't have any wood that's ready to go.
No. So there's no time for downtime here. If we had a big 10,000 square foot shop and we could buy an old machine and bring it in, and maybe this week we replace the bearings, and then next week we change the belts, and then we grease the whole thing and get it and try it out, and that'd be one thing. But there's no room here for dead wood.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the floor space is limited, so every machine, every person here has to pull their weight, and I like that phrase, dead wood.
Yeah.
No dead wood. So we're managing to clear that out, and we're pretty pleased with this. We'll give an update on our new machines.
Yeah, the next question we'll get into that a little bit.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Matt.
Had this one come in via email. Or maybe it was a message on Patreon. This is from our patron Jerry. He's a GA woodshop or workshop? Woodshop, I believe. Workshop? I forget. Jerry's in Chicago, although you might think Georgia with GA, like we did.
Yeah, well, we got to get to the bottom of that GA.
He told us why. It has to do with the company name. I can't remember off the top of my head, though.
All right, so it's GA is the initials of the company?
Something like that.
All right, we're going to have to get to the bottom of that. I need to know.
Just got an email from SAS.
SAS?
Yeah.
They probably got the shipment and wanted to know how to get the crate open.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted by this email. I'm reading the email. We should be podcasting. Here's our little message from Jerry. Hey, Jeff, hope you guys are warming up a bit. It was 45 here in Chicago today. So I was wondering if you guys could discuss why you chose Oliver versus Grizzly or Powermatic. I know you have talked a bit about it in the past. For someone like me who is building a new shop and slowly adding tools, picking a brand to go with is tough. Price versus quality versus features. In my old shop, I had Delta tools, but that was back in the 90s when they were good tools. Thanks, Jerry.
Interesting. Yeah. We don't have a Powermatic in the shop. We do have a Grizzly bandsaw, which we're perfectly satisfied with. And as far as value for the dollar, I think it was $795 when I bought it. So we'll ride that thing down to the ground, I suppose.
Yeah, you're not going to find that price again.
No. And I started the Oliver thing back when we moved into this shop and I bought the Oliver jointer.
Mm-hmm. That was what, 2004?
Yeah, I think it was 2004. We have a 10-inch Oliver joiner, and unbeknownst to me, I thought it was made in America. It was sort of the reintroduction of Oliver.
Yeah, 1999 is when Oliver started. They moved the manufacturing to Taiwan.
Yeah,
it actually, it's sold to a parent company,
right? Whatever. And I chose that joiner because in that price zone, which was about $2,000 at the time, it was 10 inches, and it had the longest bed, 7-foot bed, and to me, that's the most important thing in that category. And so I bought it, and was just really impressed with it since. And Jeff came in and saw it, and a lot of folks have come into the shop and said, wow, Oliver, I didn't know they still made tools. And this is really nice. So you could probably pick it up from there.
Yeah, so we've always, I'm speaking for myself, I've always had an interest in like the other Oliver tools, having been around these industrial tools for a while, seeing different brands, using different tools. This joiner was just such a gem. Like, the thing is bulletproof. It all we do, I've said it before, we just turn it on and then turn it off. That's the only thing. There's no changing the depth of cut. I mean, it's just always on a like a 3/32 kind of cut, or a 30-second. Or six. I don't know what the hell we have.
It's a pretty light pass.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's maybe a 30-second, not 3/32. But yeah, I mean, we don't fiddle with anything. We move the fence in and out to do edges or wide boards, but that's it. It just always works. And I've worked with some joiners that suck. I mean, they really suck.
Yeah.
So I've always been interested in trying another Oliver. So, when it was time to get some new tools, it was an obvious choice. When you look at the prices, the Oliver tools are typically less or the same, and they have better features.
Yeah. I would say their main competitor as far as a similar machine would be the upper range of the Grizzly machines.
Yep.
Now, of course, Grizzly has a huge variety of machines, so you got to find the one that fits, to compare it to. But we think the quality it's probably the same because they're coming out of the same or a very, very similar factory.
Yeah.
So it's all about how it's kitted out. What, like the planer has the gauge on it.
Yep.
Had the flat bed instead of the bed that goes up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we looked for. And then there was the brand. We wanted to try and develop a relationship.
Right.
They have a cool blue paint job.
Yeah, that's true.
But we did. We wanted to... we had posted a few things online that featured the joiner, and so we sort of developed a conversation with Oliver at the time.
Yep.
And we were able to talk to them about the machines, and we felt comfortable, and that was part of it too. Speaking to people directly at the company. So it wasn't just like putting in an order and the tools came.
Yeah, there's like more of a feeling of accountability there where to just buy something sight unseen from whatever distributor,
right,
or even direct from the manufacturer, you don't talk to anybody, it just feels a little sterile. Whereas this was, we're on a first name basis with a couple of people at Oliver from talking about the tools.
Yeah. And they feel a little bit smaller than some of the other companies.
Yeah, it's really apples to apples because pull out the Grizzly catalog, the Oliver catalog, and the Powermatic catalog.
Yeah.
They're just like twins with a different paint job.
Right.
A lot of these machines. We got a message from, I forget who it was, about the Shaper. They said, looks just like my Laguna.
Yeah.
The Laguna planer looks just like this Oliver. The York Craft planer we just got rid of looks just like the Grizzly, looks just like the Powermatic. So they're all being made in a small suite of factories in Taiwan.
Right.
They're getting a different paint job, and they're getting different little ancillary parts like the digital readout. So what you got to look at is the price and what it has feature-wise.
Yeah, because it suits you.
Yeah, the machine is basically the same. It's probably got the same motor. It's got the same, castings on the beds, on the all the motor mounts, stuff like that. It's probably all exactly the same.
Yeah. The fit and finish. That's kind of it. It kind of goes with the price.
Yeah.
We like it. I mean, they're beefy machines. A lot of cast iron.
Yeah. The Shaper. I mean, the granted it's not solid, but the table on that's almost 4 inches thick.
Yeah. It's weighs almost 700 pounds.
Yeah. And I was shocked at how easily we got the machines in here. Aside from the fact that our neighbor Javier brought the telehandler and put the Shaper into the shop for us. But
without
still,
Javier, the machines are still outside.
Yeah, getting it off of the pallet and onto the mobile base, like I just thought it was going to be more of a problem.
Yeah. Considering
we moved this sander and it took us like a half a day.
Yeah, no, we got both machines in here in an hour.
Yeah.
It's mentioning Javier. There's a landscaping company that's just down the street, maybe about 200 yards away, and they have a big yard with machinery and everything. So one day, Jeff and I brazenly just walk over there, introduce ourselves, go, "Hey, man, you got a nice telehandler over here."
Yeah, we got some machines coming in.
But
about a week.
We did send over almost $100 worth of sandwiches one day for lunch.
Yeah, they helped us with actually, speaking of sauce, we just got the email in from Sauce, but we had to crate up that wall that we built with John, and the truck showed up. He's like, "We're not going to be able to get this in the truck." I think we talked about this, but Javier helped us out with the telehandler that day.
Yeah.
So we sort of struck up a relationship. Really nice guy.
Yes.
Super smart, super talented, it seems.
Yeah, he does almost
of
everything.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything he's done, but he definitely sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. He's a fabricator.
Yeah, like he was talking about how they were, what the hell were they taking apart? Something on one of the big trucks. And he was like, none of the wrenches work, so I just made one.
Yeah.
He's one of those kind of guys. From
Yeah.
Honduras, really, really nice guy. I think he'd make a good podcast guest.
Yeah, we'll have to have him here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're going for your vaccine tomorrow for your first one.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on my email. I'm usually just a day or so behind as far as notification.
I should say too, next week. I know there's snow in the forecast. I don't know if it'll change anything, but Tim from True Trade Carpentry on Instagram, he'll be on the podcast.
That's cool.
Yeah. March 3rd, Wednesday, March 3rd.
Mark it down on your calendars.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been trying to get Tim on for a long time. We were holding off on the guests. We had John on, because John has been around. We've all been working on the sauce thing and stuff, so he's part of like the little bubble of people. And then Tim, he's basically works by himself. His wife works from home. The kids aren't in school, so we figured very low risk there. So
he's like us. We live. We already lived in a bubble.
Yeah,
not much changed for us.
Yeah.
So what can we tell Jerry? What price versus quality versus features? In my old shop, I had Delta tools. He's looking for a brand. I mean, we still have a Delta Unisaw.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you really need to choose one brand over another.
No.
Like when I started out, I had all different tools because I just picked the one that suited me best. I had Delta Unisaw, I had the Grizzly Bandsaw, the Yorkcraft Planer, the Bridgeport little spindle shaper, the Oliver Joiner, and I had that. What was that little sander? Not Jet. It was before Jet bought them.
Not Minimax. Super Max.
Supermax? Was that what? No, they're Performax.
Performax.
Yeah, I had one of those little Performax sanders, and I have the Oneida dust collector.
Yeah, I'd say you got to look at the machine and pick whichever has the best, bang for your buck.
Yeah.
In terms of that price, quality, and feature.
I think a smaller company like Oliver would be more inclined to knock something off the top. Whereas, like if you said, hey, I'm going to buy 4 machines, what can you do?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd say shoot Oliver a message on Instagram.
Drop our name.
Yeah, that might
be worth for a ham sandwich.
Maybe. A Cuban sandwich.
You'll get a hat out of it and maybe a sweatshirt.
Maybe. But yeah, if you have any specific questions about the machines we have, Jerry, you got our number.
Yeah.
Oh, here it comes. We got Matt's question. See if he's still listening.
I know a guy.
Viz, IKAG Biz on Instagram. First bit you ran on the new shaper.
No, it's not. We turned it on. So there was no bit in there at all. We don't have any dust collection hook up to it right now.
Yeah, we're waiting on the another Y to come tomorrow. Then we'll hook it up to dust. Then we'll probably throw something on there and
just for fun.
We only have 2 cutters right now. We have both. One was brand new. We got off eBay, and the other was used off of Facebook from some old man up in Maine who could barely keep up. He could barely stay with the conversation I was having with him. He thought he was talking to other people and stuff. Who knows what the hell was going on with him? But
aliens. He
sent it out, and then he goes, "Yeah, just send me a check."
Yeah, that's right.
I'm like, he goes, "I trust you." I'm like, okay. So I mailed.
They don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah, I mailed him a check. I mean, I guess we'll put the panel raising bit on there, right? Might as well put the big bit on. So we have a big Freeborn. It's actually a custom bit that we bought. It's never been used. So it's a I don't know what you would call it. We're not really up on the shaper terminology. It's a cove panel raising bit.
That's how I would describe it too, and I know even less than you do.
So yeah, it's like a 6-inch diameter, big boy freeborn.
Yeah, keep your fingers away.
Yeah, so we'll put that on there. And who knows what's going to happen. I'll have Rob try it out first.
That's like when we're bending stuff.
Draw straws.
Now I'm holding on to the board and just like, wait a second, let me get my safety glasses. He's younger than I am. I figure, I had a good life.
It's like there's a bomb that could go off. Let me put on my safety glasses. Like it's going to do anything. Have a cable snap. It's gonna go right through those glasses.
I know.
So yeah, you'll be Matt. If you're listening, you'll be the first to know how it works out.
I'm just reading this question. This next one's pretty good.
Yeah.
You want to read it?
Yeah, it's from our buddy Brian, Hamlet Woodcraft on Instagram. He's out on Long Island, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Do you guys get constant requests from family and friends looking for a deal on work? If so, how do you guys manage the situation? Nobody seems to realize the labor and material costs that go into some projects, so I'm starting to think that just saying no to all family jobs and being shunned from family gatherings is a better option. Thanks for the podcast, Brian.
Well, first off, I think, Jeff, you'll agree with me that being shunned from all family gatherings, I go for that any day.
Sounds convenient.
That's like, sign me up.
I mean, I got to stay home this weekend? Damn.
Anything I can do to be shunned from family gatherings, sign me up.
Yeah.
So I think you have your answer there. The short and sweet answer is just say no.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you can't, then you literally just have to show them the labor and material cost. Like,
yeah.
If you want it, I can send you our breakdown of cost, like the itemized breakdown of cost template that we use, and plug in the numbers. And what does this say? Plug in the numbers and say, look, what you asked me for it's an $11,000 job.
Yeah. This is the other really important thing. When I'm working on my cousin's bedroom set, I can't work on anything else. So it's like I'm losing money on top of not making money.
We got Keith coming up to speak.
All right. Let's hear from you, Keith.
Keith, you're live on the American Craftsman Podcast.
Again?
Yeah, welcome back.
Hey, thanks, man. Hey, you guys got to send out that sheet to me, that work list, that worksheet you got.
Oh, for pricing, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
So it's in
numbers,
which is Mac, but you're a computer guy. I'm sure you can. I think it should open in an Excel file.
Yeah.
Excel.
Some of the things might not look right, but it'll work.
Nice. What machine are you looking at upgrading next? That's my question.
That's a good question. We've been kicking around the idea, well, maybe not a full machine, but like a power feeder for the shaper. We're definitely itching for one of those. And a portable edge bander.
Right.
We don't do a ton of edge banding, but it is,
for shelves would be nice.
Yeah, it's a thankless job and a tedious job when you have to do iron-on edge banding. So I think those would be good time savers.
Yep. As far as the only other thing we talk about is replacing the unisaw with another
saw stop.
Yeah. But that's an expensive proposition.
Yeah. Yeah, the dado gets used when it gets used, and then when it'd sit there most of the time. Yeah.
And we'd have to get the dado set up for the saw stop, and then changing out the blade would mean changing out the detector thing.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. You know what I would say? Dust collection.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'd love to have something that was a little bit stronger. And I'd love to upgrade sort of like the layout with the the piping, because it's sort of like a poorly planned city up there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we learned a lot.
Oneida has a service where they can kind of figure out the best laid plan for what you have in your shop.
Yeah, I have an Oneida dust collection system, and I called them and said, yeah, I spent quite a bit of money with you guys, and can you help me out? And they said, no, that's something that we only do with new machine purchases. So even though I didn't use it at the time of my purchase, they told me to go kick rocks.
Nice. No grandfather clause on that.
No. So,
not even like we could do it for like $500 or whatever.
No. They said, yeah, we're pretty busy, so go away.
What about you, Keith?
I think I'm in the market for a drum sander, like an open-ended drum sander, either a Jet or a Supermax.
Nice. Yeah, we had the 1632. Was it? Yeah. It worked well. I mean, it just didn't have the power.
It was underpowered for what we needed.
Because we were doing the altar rail at the church at the time when it like really started to sort of seem underpowered, and it was hundreds and hundreds of pieces going through that thing.
Yeah. I'll tell you my big gripe with that machine, and I had it for about 8 or 10 years, was that the mechanism that raises and lowers the bed is not accurate and inconsistent.
A little sloppy.
Yeah, so you might just tick the handle over like a 16th of a turn of a full turn, and it would take off this huge swath and burn the material, get bogged down. And then other times you have to turn it like a whole quarter of a turn to get that sort of stock removal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a precision instrument at times.
Yeah, and that's not to say that the one that we have is foolproof, but
no.
This Woodmaster's got a 7.5 horsepower motor, which I think is the biggest.
It's the biggest one they
plus
make,
for us. It's just having the power to run wide stuff through it.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind another shop where somebody else was doing that.
Yeah.
That would be my upgrade.
I like a double wide belt sander.
Yeah.
They have oscillating ones too, where it's like they have ones that have 2 different grits in it.
Yep. Yeah, our drum sander has 2 grits. And the shop we used to work in had an oscillating wide belt, like a 37-inch Powermatic. And it was all out of calibration and in bad shape, but in theory, I mean, an amazing machine.
Yes. You got to maintain those things. And at that shop, the belts can be costly if you just look at the purchase price of them and not what they're actually doing for you. And so a lot of people don't want to invest in the belts, so they keep running bald tires, so to speak, and then the performance goes down, and then the machine starts to suffer. Mm-hmm. So it's like everything else. You get out of it what you put into it. But I would love to have one of those machines here.
Yeah.
In lieu of what we have.
Yeah, it couldn't take up any more space. I mean, that sander's a monster.
So, Keith, do you have any opinion about your family and friends asking you to do work for them?
If it's like the wife, I'll have everything stops and I'll do it.
You got no choice on that one.
Yeah. That's not what we're talking about. Like, Cousin Joe, he wants you to whip up a side table for his living room.
I had one of my wife's cousins wants to come down and actually build something, and I'm like, you know what, that's fine. And I've done some work for family, which, I mean, it can get tricky, but if you lay everything out ahead of time, say, look, if you want to just pay for, material and, this, that, and the other, and you can wait. It's not going to be done in a week. The paying clients are always first.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Now, because what I always try to explain to my family, I don't explain anymore because after I stopped working for them, nobody contacts me. But when I'm working on their project, I'm not getting paid. So I'm not just doing their work for free, but now I'm losing money. I'm losing my regular paycheck. And I tell them, can you do something for me and not get paid at your regular job? I mean, no, that's unreasonable.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
don't think I've ever done anything free. I've even done some woodworking stuff from my full-time job in Red Bank. And, I may not charge them everything that I would normally charge, but, they're still paying for some of my time and for all the materials.
Yeah, definitely you got to, pony up for the materials.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for example, this weekend I'm going to be helping out. My sister-in-law owns a salon, and my wife works there. So myself and my wife's stepdad we're going to be doing a little bit of work for the salon.
Yeah.
But extended kind of family.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do with how you're approached to what's the first
right
conversation about the whole thing and how they sort of frame it. Because if you're coming at me with can I get this for free? It's going to put a bad taste in my mouth immediately.
Oh yeah. And that's sort of where my line is. If somebody asks me and you see there's a potential for it to happen, then it's going to be a freebie. That's the whole thing. I go into it knowing this is free, no charge. The last thing I did for free was my wife's cousins. They had these pair of French doors installed in an opening in their house. So instead of there being just a framed opening, somebody came by, put the doors in, and where the two wood floors came together, the contractor left the big gap there. So they needed a threshold that could span the gap and be the right height and all this other stuff. So I looked at it. I said, yeah, all right, I can do that. And although it was, a freebie, it really only took me about an hour. I pulled out a piece of maple here that we had so much of. That was probably about, a $12 or $15 board. Cut the angles on it and all the little notches and stuff like that. And they were ecstatic. And they sent me a gift card and all this other stuff. And that's usually what happens when you do things like that.
Yeah. I'll give you a day, but I'm not going to build you a whole... I can't give you a deal on a project that's going to be a long-term...
Can't you?
No, because we barely make it with the full price. So
that's right. They think we're stealing from them,
yeah.
Right? Oh, all right. That was a great question from Brian. So what's our recommendation to Brian? You
just got to break him the bad news.
Yeah. You can't afford to do it for free.
Definitely not for free. No, and maybe a discount, but if you're busy, you got to do it what you need to for your business.
Yeah, maybe one of the relatives, they have a business or something like that they're willing to barter. Maybe somebody owns a restaurant, you want to eat free for
life,
a year or so.
For life.
All right. So hang in there, Brian. And Keith, do you want to hang in and listen to the next couple of questions and chime in?
Yeah, sure.
I was going to say, Brian, refer back to the second question with Tom about where to hide a body, because you might be able to work something out with that in your current problem.
All right. So we got another question from Dave. He's the Blue Gerson on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And he asks us, you guys do anything to recycle sawdust?
Yeah,
why is that funny?
We recycle it right back outside where the trees came from.
Yeah.
We've got yards and yards of sawdust out here, just dumped around the property. And it gets a little shorter. The stacks get a little shorter every day.
Yeah.
It's all covered with snow at the moment.
Yeah, we have an area right behind. There's about 20 feet between the shop and the fence. That was the setback that we had to have when we put the building up, and that's probably about 3 feet deep in wood chips. So it's a little spongy back there, and there are some areas that are good, like 4 and 5 feet tall.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
So. But then we have this other area of yard that we have to use a wheelbarrow to take the chips over. We call that the back 40. And it's an area of yard that's just, overgrown with trees. And, we don't do anything. There's no grass over there. And we cleared out an area of about, 50 by 25. And we just wheelbarrow it over there. And we started dumping there last year.
Yeah, it gets tough to walk back there.
Yeah.
Because it's so soft.
Yeah. So we have, anywhere in the yard, there's probably about 3 foot of wood chips. And I've tried using it in like planting beds and stuff like that. But we rarely have one species running through the shop in that sort of abundance where we could do a large area. So we just try and spread it out all over the place. We haven't shipped it out or anything like that ever.
No.
What do you do, Keith?
I've seen a lot of people take the sawdust and mix it with, an epoxy or some kind of resin and make either coasters or, Christmas ornaments out of it. You turn them on the lathe, stuff like that where you're not using it all the time, but you could make something with it.
Well, if somebody wants to come pick up our sawdust for that,
they can make enough ornaments for every person in the U.S., I think.
Yeah, they could come and get it. We'll give it to them for free.
You know what I saw was what's his name on YouTube? Guy out in in Oregon or Washington State.
Frank Howarth.
Yeah. He's on. I was thinking Maker's Mob with John. He did. Didn't he do epoxy with? He put like a cup inside his dust collector thing and collected the different layers of different types of wood.
Yeah, he definitely did that. That was one of the ideas that I was thinking. I was like, yeah, you could do that, definitely. Yeah,
that was cool. So it had like that stratified look of different species.
Yeah, we finally got a strong connection now to a dude that comes and picks up our wood scraps.
Yeah, we gave away 5 big Rubbermaid cans full of scrap wood about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Surprisingly hard to find people to come get that stuff.
Yeah, he wants more, so
we got it. We got another 2 cans almost already.
Now all we need to find is somebody to come get the sawdust.
Yeah.
We'll really be hooked up.
Start throwing it over the fence into Food Town.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we got some type of cannon that we could shoot it up into the air, and then it would just kind of blow around and get dispersed.
Let it dissipate.
It's only like 30 gallons at a time.
That's right. So if there are any suggestions out there as what to do with sawdust, it's mostly chips. I mean,
we do get real fine dust off the sander. Yeah. We've had this come up before. People have suggested like donate it to the animal shelter, and I mean we didn't really look into that, but we're busy. Yeah. We're busy guys.
The problem is there's some species like walnut that I know horses can't get in on that, and then the other thing is we'd have to like sort it because if you're running plywood through the table saw, that plywood dust is in there.
I got a gripe. I just thought I called our insurance agent this morning about 9 o'clock.
And they never got back to us.
I'll call you back in 5 to 10 minutes. I never got a call.
Yeah. What is that? People say, I'll call you back right away. I'll call you back in 5 minutes. Hang on.
Maximum 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I just got to finish what I'm doing here. Yeah. Does that ever happen to you, Keith?
Sometimes, yeah. You can't always count on people calling you back.
Keith sounds like a nice guy, doesn't he? It doesn't sound like a gripe when you say it, Keith.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
You're too reasonable. We're just grumpy over here. Well, it's bringing us to our last question.
Yeah.
From our buddy Manny. We called in a favor. We needed some more questions. We're a little light on questions this week. Although I'm seeing we're up at an hour and 40. So Manny asked, when did you guys realize that you had made it?
Oh, God.
How does it feel knowing so many people look up to you and look forward to seeing your work?
Oh, my God.
My response was, I don't think we have made it.
No, we didn't. We didn't make it. And, I mean, I don't know if you're talking about, like, Jeff's son, Hunter. He probably looks up to us a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
He's vertically challenged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that problem. Everyone looks up to me.
Yeah. That's right. That's crazy sounding. That's crazy talk, Manny. Yeah, I think even people who have made it by most standards, the reason they don't think they've made it is part of that process. You know, they're always pushing and striving, and that's part of the, I think, formula for success.
Yeah, it's to never be satisfied with where you're at.
I would say, as far as making a living at something we love, and maybe, you know, it's unique to some respect. You know, we're not a factory here. We are making our own rules for the most part. All right, we've achieved that, but made it means it sort of has a finality to it, doesn't it?
Right, that was my sort of thought. It's like, you know, we're always just a few months away from no work, or
Right.
sometimes it gets to the days or weeks or days where it's like, man, if we don't get a job in the next couple of days, we're out of work. You know, I don't think, you know, we'll ever feel like we made it unless we're booked up for, you know, we're talking multiple years time.
When our name has cachet to the point where, you know, people say, oh, this is a Greene Street.
Yeah, where you can say, we don't have to worry, there's work coming in. How does it feel knowing so many people look up to you and look forward to seeing your work? That's, I mean, totally humbling. To just share stuff and be able to communicate with all kinds of different people and meet different people. It's been awesome.
Yeah, the second part of that question, I think there's a communal spirit out there that is new to people my age, especially, I think, where we come from a time of more competition, where if somebody was in the same line, you really would probably not be sharing things with them. And,
oh, yeah, you'd leave them in a ditch if you saw them on the side of the road.
Right. And I think that's pretty wonderful that the internet has spawned this type of generosity of spirit and goodwill, because I think that it suits me, and I think it suits us as a company, as a group. And my advice for people from my generation is to take a look around and see there's a new world out there, and to embrace it and be a part of it, because I think it's better than the other one that we're leaving behind.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Really deep.
Cut me to the core.
Yeah, well, I'm 58. I'm pushing 60. My experience, my age makes me like a late boomer, but my life experience probably pushes me more towards the other generation, like a Gen Xer. So I probably have a different outlook towards life, but thankfully, you know, I've been open enough. And to me, partnering up with Jeff, who's like almost half my age, that's the bonus, you know, because he's into all this stuff. And if I was left to my own devices, I'd probably just be here working waiting for the phone to ring like I did for the first 15 years. But I wouldn't have a podcast, wouldn't be doing all this stuff on Instagram and Clubhouse and all that. So these are highlights of my work experience now. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I've run into very few people that haven't been like willing to share. Most recently, I had someone tell me, I was going to offer help, and they were like, "Oh, well, it's really not great since we're competing." I'm like, well, we're really not, but it's, for the most part, everybody's been really open in this community.
Right.
Yeah. Like for example, so we ran into like an issue with the hinges on this piece that we're building, where we need them to go 270, and we couldn't find anything that looked nice. And then the hinges that we ended up picking, they don't go the 270. So like I reached out to Lucas, Man Made in Mass, and like he's gonna try and maybe make us hinges like out of brass, like braze them. And so I mean, just to have the ability to reach out to someone who's 6 hours away, who has the ability to collaborate on something. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, think about when we first met John Peters, and like, so I didn't really know anything about John Peters or what he did. I figured he was a guy like me, that he had a wood shop and this and that and the other thing. And, I didn't know why John would be interested in working with us. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, what a great friendship and a great relationship. And you see there, of course, it's a complimentary relationship.
Yeah.
But that was sort of like adjusting to that way of thinking. It's like,
Yeah, like, and some people don't understand the whole social media, and they think it's all like superficial, but it's really not. I mean, I'd say that's the minority of the interaction, is this sort of I don't know, fakey kind of thing.
It's like that with everything, like TV. TV can be crap, or you can watch some show on PBS that teaches you about an event in history that you didn't know about, or
like the banana,
the Banana Wars, or the Tulsa Massacre, or you can learn how to cook something from Julia Child.
Yeah.
There's so much good stuff out there, and so that's what it's all about. Picking and choosing, and it makes me think about our dear departed and how he thought of.
You say dear departed?
Okay, our departed. What he thought of, like, working this whole Instagram and working with people, and how, it seemed like a dead end to him. Mm-hmm. So, and we wouldn't know Keith. We wouldn't know any of these guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
life would be so much better, right?
Yeah.
Think about like Jack. I mean, Jack's like a 23-year-old dude in Australia.
That's right.
I don't know any other 23-year-old guys in Australia.
No.
Who do woodworking. Like, without, Instagram and the podcast and stuff like that, how would we meet these like-minded people from, that's Perth, Australia is literally the furthest point from where we are right now.
Yes, we use the internet to figure that out.
So, I mean, it's totally cool.
Yeah.
And you got to seize the opportunity. You live in a time where you can connect with people all over the world that do the same thing as you. If you're not doing that, you're totally fucking up, because why not?
Yeah. And to get back.
And I agree, like, the whole teaching aspect of this community is amazing. Like, I'm looking right now, one of the guys on the listening is, Steve Pellegrino, and he's an awesome knife maker. And I took a class with him up at Jimmy DeResta's, over a year ago now. And
What's up, Steve?
It's just that kind of selfless, like, I'm going to show you. It took me years to do this, but I'm going to show you how to do it. And, it's just that community's awesome.
Yeah. And I would just want to add that Manny, he's a good friend of ours, and he's always got kind words, very generous. But in all honesty, Jeff and I look up to Manny in the same way.
Yeah.
his abilities, his experiences, who he is as a person. So shout out to you, Manny.
Yeah. Manny's a good dude.
Yeah. So I think this is going to bring us to the close of our regular section of the podcast, no?
Yeah, that's all she wrote.
Yeah, we want to thank everybody.
Yeah, thanks all you guys, Keith, Matt, Steve,
David Murphy, Manny Sirianni, Dustin Fair, Adam Pothast, and David Shoemaker.
They're 5 gold tier patrons. If you didn't know, we do an after show on Patreon, so we'll sit down here for usually about another hour or so, 45. We say a half hour, but usually goes closer to an hour.
Because we're ramblers.
Yeah, we'll talk about all kinds of weird stuff, woodworking related or not. We try and talk about a little bit of woodworking. So yeah, if you want to get in with that, you can check out the Patreon. We're on YouTube. You'll have to see the new set over on the YouTube video.
Yeah.
And we're on Clubhouse now, so you can tune in with these guys here maybe next week.
That's right.
If you're in on Clubhouse. That'd
be cool. We'd really love to build that up and get some question, answer, and just involvement from those of you out there listening on Clubhouse.
Yeah, I this weekend, like on Saturday when my son was taking a nap, like I was on Clubhouse for like 3 hours with Matt and some other guys. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. I met Aaron, who works up there with Jimmy, like super smart guy, had some real good stuff to say. It's really cool to just talk with other like-minded people.
Yeah that's another cool thing happening.
Yeah, well, appreciate you guys, love you all.
Yes,
we'll see you next week, episode
Be safe
26
out there.
All right, take care, guys.
Later, guys.
Ciao.
Later, Keith.